Okay, we're going to talk about these cell riddles. So it'll help reinforce your understanding of cell structure and function, the organelles within the cell. So here's the first one. I'm strong and supportive, made of cellulose and tough. I'm found only in plants, but I guess that's enough. What structure am I? Cell wall. Very good. Everyone got that? The cell wall. By the way, cellulose is what type of organic compound? If you don't know, yes, there's 4 organic compounds. So I'm testing your knowledge of organic compounds as well as going to tell you about cellulose in a minute. So what could it be? It's not a lipid. It's not a protein. It's not a nucleic acid because it's not DNA or RNA. Fat is a lipid. It's not a lipid. What's the last one? Enzyme is a special type of protein. Huh? It's a carbohydrate. Anyone know what kind of a carbohydrate it is? It's a sugar. It's a sugar. So there's starches and sugars are the 2 types of carbohydrates, right? So I'm getting to my point. The reason you know cellulose is a sugar is because it ends in ose, O-S-E. Think of all your other sugar names. Glucose, sucrose, dextrose, cellulose. So that's a good little trick for you to know going forward. Moving on, I'm a real powerhouse. That's plain to see. I break down food to release energy. What am I? The mitochondria. Nice job, Peyton. The mitochondria. Very good. Who can tell me what process happens in the mitochondria that releases energy? Sorry? Not digestion. Digestion has to happen way before this process is going to happen because we need the sugar in the food for this process. You need the glucose. What else do you need? Things you need right now because you need this process to make energy. And as we know, living things make energy nonstop. It's a need of all living things. Oxygen, very good. So the glucose from the digestion, the oxygen you're breathing, and you're making cellular energy in the mitochondria. You're making ATP, which stands for adenosine triphosphate, and it's enough to know that that is the cellular energy. That's what cells use to do their work. You are releasing a waste product. What waste product are you releasing? Carbon dioxide, right? Hey, just think about what you're doing. Hey, I'm breathing. Oh, I'm breathing out carbon dioxide. And you wouldn't know this one. This one's a little harder to identify, but you do release some water in this process, which your body reuses because water is such a valuable solvent and is a place of most chemical reactions in the body. Okay? So you're thinking of the name now. What process do we know that requires oxygen, glucose to yield ATP, cellular energy, and also releases CO2 as a waste product and water, which is a waste product that gets reused. And it's a waste product because the goal is to make energy. What's that process? Anyone? Yes, respiration. Very good, respiration. So respiration is happening in your mitochondria inside every cell for all the cells to do the work. And you're breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide is the collection of all the cell's needs and then getting rid of all the cell's waste every couple of seconds. Moving on, I'm in animal cells and contain many enzymes to keep things clean. I can digest injured or worn out cells, but it's not mean. What am I? Very good, Alyssa. A lysosome. Very good. Digestive enzymes. Enzymes are specialized proteins that speed up reactions. So in this case, they can be digestive enzymes, like the stuff in your digestive system that breaks down the compounds. So we can use that to break down organelles within the cell. I'm full of holes, flexible and thin. I control what gets out as well as what gets in. What am I? Natalie. The cell membrane. Very good. The cell membrane. Oh, I think we're getting some chats here. Nope, no chats. Cell membrane. Okay, good. So cell membrane, we haven't really talked about it, but it's a lipid bilayer, so it's made of lipids. So when we talk about fats being an important part of your diet, understand that fats are important because every cell is surrounded by a layer of fat, right? A double layer of fat, this lipid bilayer. Bi means two layers of lipid, which are derived from fats and oils, right? So keep that in mind. Okay, found only in plants. I'm green as can be. I make food for the plant using the sun's energy. Anyone? Peter. Chloroplast. Very good. Chloroplast. And what is the green pigment that is making it green? What is inside the chloroplast? We have talked about this, but if you don't remember, you could start searching it right now. It's pretty common. It's a green pigment that allows the chloroplast to absorb the wavelengths of light that allow the chloroplast to do its work. Chlorophyll, very good. Chlorophyll is the green pigment. So anytime you see something green like grass or leaves on a tree or even algae, you know that those organisms are photosynthesizing. They contain chlorophyll and they're going to do photosynthesis, which is the name of the process for plants making food. What are the reactants and products of photosynthesis? What goes into the process? What do plants need to make their own food? Tell me one thing. Call it out. Online, in class, what do you got? Water, very good. Sunlight, what, Connor?
I said sunlight.
One more thing. Carbon dioxide, very good. And then you yield a food source, glucose. And what waste product, thankfully, do the plants release in this process? Oxygen. Not ATP, because they're making food, not energy. Plants then use their food, in respiration to make their energy. But luckily, they will make more food than they need. And that's why plants store lots of food in it. And other animals, other heterotrophs, can then eat the autotrophs, right, to get energy. Proteins are made here. Even though I'm quite small, you can find me in the cytoplasm or attached to ER's wall. What am I? Ribosomes. Very good. Ribosomes. So ribosomes can be free in the cytoplasm or they're attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. That's the ER. And its job is to make proteins. It reads the messages sent from the nucleus, the copies of DNA, which are actually messenger RNA messages, and it makes proteins that the nucleus decides, right? So, we'll talk more about protein synthesis another day, but that's why you can understand that you don't have eyeballs growing out of your toe. Because even though your toe has the information for making an eye, it's not doing it, right? Because the proteins aren't making those proteins because the nucleus has not released that information. The nucleus in your toe is only releasing information for doing toe stuff, okay? I've been called a storage tank by those with little taste. I'm a sack filled with water, food, enzymes, or waste. I'm small in animals and large in plants and can store most anything except for ants. What am I? Vacuole, very good. It's a vacuole. Okay, plants have a large vacuole because plants need to store large amounts of water, right? Because they are making their own food in photosynthesis. Found only in animals. I help the cell divide. Using spindle fibers, I keep chromosomes organized. What am I? Someone said it nice and loud. Say it again. Centriole, very good. The centrioles. We don't talk about them a lot because they're only useful in cell division. But remember, every cell, we just said the toe has eye protein information, and the eye has toe protein information, vice versa, and heart cell information, all of that, how to build a whole new you in every cell. How does that happen? Because a copy of your DNA gets made every time a cell divides. And now you have to take that copied information and organize it and get it into the two new cells. So each cell will have a copy. And the centrioles do that. They release spindle fibers, which actually pull the chromosomes to the two new cells. I'm made of a jelly-like substance and help the cell ebb, flow, and move about. I transport, support, and fill the cell out. What am I? The cytoplasm. Very good. And you often hear a lot about things supporting and transporting. Anytime something is in and around another substance, it's supporting. Anytime things are floating through, it's transporting, right? So cytoplasm does both those things because it's just a jelly that fills the cell. So it gives shape to the cell, things flow through it, so it's transporting and stuff like that. I'm not an organelle, but rather a structure in the boss. I contain DNA and pass traits to cells in a systematic way. What structure am I? Alyssa? Chromosomes. Very good. Chromosomes. So the way it works is this. We said that every cell has a copy of all of your DNA. Well, DNA is arranged into packets of information called genes, and the genes code for traits: eye color, hair color, height, how athletic you are, some of those things, right? These genes are structured together, packaged together on larger structures called chromosomes, okay? So it's DNA is the molecule. Packages of molecules of DNA are the genes that code for your characteristic traits, the proteins that you are. And many of these genes are packaged together on large chromosomes. I'm a series of tubes found throughout the cell. I'm not made of bone, but I support and transport well. What am I? There was a clue in there about bone. Cytoskeleton. It's within the cytoplasm, and it's just a series of protein filaments we call microtubules, microtubes, and their job is to just provide some support because they keep the cell open and inflated and allow things to move easily about. They help in transport as well. I make vesicles as vehicles to transport materials. The vesicles quickly find a lane, emerge with a layer called the cell membrane. What am I? Alyssa? The Golgi body or Golgi apparatus. They are the same exact thing. It just has two different names. I think one was older, one's newer, but they're both acceptable. Okay? So the Golgi body's job is to package the proteins and lipids made and processed by the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which processes the proteins from the ribosomes, and then the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which processes the lipids. These materials sometimes get excreted from the cell, and when that happens, you have to package it. It's packaged in a membrane-bound organelle called the vesicle. And it's basically just a lipid bilayer on the outside with the stuff you want to release inside. And it's particularly important in cells like neurons, which are nerve cells, which want to send signals to other cells. So these vesicles, because they're made of the lipid bilayer, they merge with the cell membrane. And when that happens, it just becomes part of the cell membrane. But when it does that, it opens up and releases contents to the outside of the cell. Okay? I'm the brain of the cell, or so they say. I regulate activities from day to day. What am I, Peyton? That's the nucleus. Very good. And as we said, it's the boss because it controls protein synthesis. It's not letting the cells just make every protein that can be made, but selecting which proteins get made. And that's called cell specialization. Again, I joke with, having eyeballs in your toes, but it's true. And it happens because the nucleus decides which information gets made. I'm a series of passageways. Last one. I'm a series of passageways that are sometimes rough and sometimes smooth. but I always work in a good groove. What am I?
Endoplasmic reticulum.
Nice job, Connor. The endoplasmic reticulum, right? Rough is responsible for the proteins because it has the ribosomes. Just that's how you keep it straight. If it's got ribosomes, it must be involved in proteins because ribosomes make the proteins. And then the smooth just handles the other stuff, the lipids. Okay? All right, and it's cell riddles. You all did a really great job, and I hope you got a really good, thorough understanding of how the cells coordinate together and help the cell function. Good work. All right, so, gee, I hope that worked. In any case,